Hi there, welcome back to Alicia's Crafty Hoplop and to part 2 of, boy, do I wish I had known this when I first started because it would have saved me a whole lot of frustration and a ton of cash. This is my review of tools that I find to be essential, tools I wish I'd had from the start rather than spending on extra paper pads that I didn't need or other adornments or things that I didn't need, which I'm going to get to. The first video I messed up. I told you that this new system, I can't move quickly or it freezes the frame, and I so apologize. And I know it's happened a couple times in the last 10 days. I am working on it, folks. I just get excited and I forget. So please forgive me. All right, moving right along, because there aren't that many left to cover, because the reality is, as long as you have good quality tools, you don't need that many. Sorry, that was a no-see-em. Those in Florida know what a no-see-em is. They're called no-see-ems because you don't see them, folks. But those little things bug you and they bite and they come through the screen. They're so annoying. They never bother my husband. Only me. Only me. Don't ask. I drink as much Diet Coke as I drink coffee. All right, that was a long video, so are you ready? This one's going to be shorter. So I bought a corner rounder when I first got when I realized that I was not good at, most people were like, you don't need a corner rounder. You can just use these scissors. Well, I didn't have these scissors. I had my dollar store scissors. And when I was doing my corner rounding, they were uneven. I didn't like the way it looked. I finally bit the bullet and I bought one from the Hobby Lobby. I think it was all of like $6 minus 40% off. It didn't work that great. Now, I'm gifting it to Nilda because Nilda asked for it in We Wishes, and I'm happy to give it to her. I warned her it doesn't work that well. I got one from AliExpress. It didn't work any better, folks. In fact, it worked worse. That's the only one I can speak to. I can't speak to the other punches, but it was not very good. It actually shredded paper sometimes, and I don't know. So, as you all know, because I shared it with you when I hauled it, I finally got a crocodile. And I waited because I'm frugal, and they're $25 and I won't pay it. And I finally got one for $12.99. But notice I haven't taken it out yet. It's because I know I'm packing it up for New York, because this is a very treasured tool, because for me, this is one of my most valuable tools, and I know that this is going to be valuable too, but I'm a little disappointed. Carmen tells me it's still not really going to cut chipboard, and I'm kind of frustrated by that, because I feel like if you're going to make a product like this, it better be able to cut chipboard. I use heavyweight chipboard too, folks. I have lightweight chipboard I also use, but the one I list down below, and those links are fixed. You know what it was, folks? I didn't realize this. I leave myself signed into my Amazon account, but they all don't want you having access to my Amazon, so none of the links were working. So I just went and redid them all. The Precision Pro glue gun is available at Amazon and Michaels, so I use the Michaels link, but you can buy it at either. So I need to test this out before I leave. So, because if it's really not going to cut chipboard, I wasn't going to open it before New York, but if it's not going to cut chipboard, then I'm giving this back. Because then what the heck good is it? For real. What? Just because it makes a big corner cut and a small corner cut? That's not worth $12.99. No. Then I'm going to have to do some research. And if any of you know of a device like this that cuts through chipboard, that's what I'm looking for, especially for bookmaking. Maybe, Judy, you know. If you know of a corner rounder for chipboard, please leave a comment below. Or maybe Anastratus, you know. Someone let me know, because it's certainly an important tool, and I know that I like to use it a lot. Don't laugh. This is one of my favorite all-time tools. I don't know about you, but when you are using a fussy punch like this one, this is one of my favorite punches. Now, it's not a necessary tool. This is a luxury. I could live without this one. But you see that beautiful ornate cut-up art it does? It really cuts out beautifully. I love this punch. I was going to show you a piece of it. I was looking over here. I had it ready to show you, but then I got all disorganized when the video cut off. Anyway, all these little pieces fall over the table everywhere, and I just keep this handy to clean everything off immediately, so that at the end of the day of crafting, or afternoon or evening or hour, it's easy to clean up. So this for me is a dollar store item, super handy. I always have to have one. But I'll tell you what I learned from Simon Says Stamp. That is, I needed a dust buster. I'll tell you, my husband, it was yesterday, right, honey? He takes me over to the clean sheets on his lanai bed, and there are like sparkly things. And I haven't made any shakers recently. when I make shakers, it's a problem because I have hand issues. And even though I got that great storage case from Alina that makes spillage so much less often and so much better, I still spill them everywhere. And I learned from Simon Says Stamp, you got to have a dust buster in your craft room. And I got to tell you, that has made the biggest difference. That tool, which I don't need to hold up, you can go get yourself any decent dust buster, $12.99, $14.99. That is going to save you a whole lot of heartache. The husband who's sitting over there will verify how many times a day I sweep. Like if I'm crafting all afternoon, I have to sweep a ton. So dustbuster is a huge help, but also if you spill sequins, so good, so good. But this is my backup, and that's $1. All right, you know I'm a huge fan of art glitter glue. Everyone is a huge fan of art glitter glue because, or not everyone, most people. When I was first making, I told you all I was very messy. And art glitter glue dries clear and it dries flat without buckling. And I didn't know how to use my bone folder well enough. And I was using the one that came with free with the memory keepers, which wasn't the best one. And so when I was using Tombow Mono or some of the other glues that people recommended, there was buckling and puckering. And if I got a little mess on it, as Dina showed when she tested the Tombow after I recommended it, she showed what I used to have happen, which are these like dirty kind of little smudgy marks. Not pretty. All right. Here's the thing about this. Art glitter glue is really expensive. I've listed it down below. The cheapest I can get it for is $12.99 for an 8-ounce bottle. That's pricey. This Tombow Mono is $3.19 on Amazon, or about $3 at Hobby Lobby or Michael's with a coupon. I have to tell you a little secret. This month, while I was here in Florida, I didn't want to have to order a big old tub of art glitter glue that I was just going to leave sitting here. So all the stuff I've been making, I didn't want to have to spend on the art glitter glue. And because in the Holy Land, I didn't have access to it, I sure learned a lot about how to better use other glues that are less expensive. I'm going to do a proper adhesion video, so I'm not going to take up a lot of time here. But I will tell you that Helmer's 450 Quick Dry is pretty fantastic. It's not perfect. It has a little bit of shadowing we can talk about. But Tombow Mono now, because I've worked hard at being a precise maker, I can use it every day, folks. And I don't have any issues with it. Does it lift? It can. I prototype everything. So I know if it lifts in certain places. And I'll go back and I'll test on the fine tip point to make sure that it will relay down if I just maybe didn't put enough adhesive. And if it does, then that passes prototype and I leave it outside. I leave it on the lanai. I check it in different different environments. And as long as it holds up after several days, I'm pretty confident. The other thing I kind of cheaped out on this month because of budget, because I spent on doing the postage, was my Scor Tape. Now, when you're making a book and you want a book to last, please use Scor Tape. I'm just going to tell you this. I'm going to do this test to show you officially, but there's no question that Scor Tape works better than anything else. You want something to last the test of time, but it's expensive. 27 yards of a ½ inch is going to cost you almost $8. And 27 yards of, look how much I know the price off by heart. 27 yards of the, I don't know if it's like the one that's smaller, like 1/27 of an inch or whatever, that's $5.38. It's expensive. So this month, because again, I'm watching my crafty budget, I'm going to tell you a little secret. All right. So if I'm making a bag topper that I'm going to put on someone's packaging and I'm going to package it up in a way that I know they're going to have to rip the bag topper, I use inexpensive double-sided tape like some of the ones I sent out in the Australia We Wish kits. This is from Forever and Time. You can get this at Walmart for $2, or in Canada, only in Canada, at the Dollar Tree, can you get this for $1. Yeah, that's a benefit. The Dollar Tree in the Canada, it's only $1. I know, unbelievable, guys. And some people say they can get it here in their Crafter's Corner, but not in Florida, you can't. So I'll use that on a project where I'm not worried about durability and sustainability. There aren't too many projects like that, folks. Bag toppers are pretty much it, with very few exceptions. Because even when I burnish this down, when I test it, it's not that great. It's going to lift. Now, if it's a project that I know they're not going to use over the course of time, yeah, then I'm using the less expensive tape. Because why would you be using ridiculously expensive Scor Tape for something that's just going to be tossed out? Okay. Right now at Tuesday Morning, they also have a double-sided tape that works quite well, and it's $2.19, and it's more yardage than what you get in this. So this is 20 meters or 65 feet. So it works out to be less expensive than the Forever and Time, either from Walmart or the dollar store. So that's a great place. I don't have the code number. I guess I could read it for you. 0689. So that's available at Tuesday Morning. That's a great backup tape, okay? Very inexpensive way for you to do your projects. But again, if you want your books to last, I'm not suggesting that that's perfect. But folks, in some countries you can't get Scor Tape. In the Holy Land, they can't get it. In fact, they asked if I come back. Bookmakers asked me to bring it. I know that in Australia they don't have it. Just like they don't have access to it. And if they do have it, it's crazily expensive. Like Mod Podge, like $15 Mod Podge or $17 Mod Podge in New Zealand or in Australia. Ridiculous, right? I'm paying $1 for it for the little thing at the dollar store, and it's $17 there. So I recognize that in certain countries you don't have access, or it's so insanely expensive you can't get Scor Tape. The next best option is what I just sent out to a couple of people, which is the red line tape. And I brought it out here to show you. But then I'm scared to move around now because of the video, and I don't want to mess up and have the video go off. But basically, guys, it's this tape, but it's bright red. And you can get it at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, but they also have it at Tuesday Morning. And the 1/8 inch one is only $1.49, and the 1/2 inch one is $1.99. That's the cheapest place to get it. If you don't have a Tuesday Morning in your area, again, I would suggest that you buy it at the Hobby Lobby or get a crafty friend to buy it for you at Tuesday Morning when they see it, and you just pay for shipping for them, because that's the next best option to Scor Tape, and it's a lot less expensive. So I always keep all of them in my stash, because like again, if I'm doing like a quick little tag that's just a cute note to a friend, I might use this or I might use the red line depending upon it. So this month, to do that cute flip book I made, I did a combination of the red line tape and glue, and now I know it passed the prototype, so it's going to hold up. So that's another thing you can do, is combine adhesives, but we'll talk about that when we do an actual adhesives test. All right, y'all. The other thing that I can't live without, they didn't look this cute though. I found these in Canada at the Dollar, I think this is the Dollar Tree, yeah, at the Crafter's Corner. I bought in the Holy Land these like industrial male looking plier-ish kind of clips, and they were $4 for $1, and I use them all the time to hold things in place while they're setting, especially if I'm using EC6000 or Tombow Mono. The other downside to it is that it's slippy as heck until it dries, and it is not quick drying like the Helmer's 450 or glitter glue. It's better if you want to have some time to move things around, but it's really not good. You can knock your thing out of place. So I like to have craft clips. I didn't have anything this cute. These were $1 at the Dollar Tree Crafter's Corner in Canada, and I got these for a crafty friend. I wanted them for myself, but there was only one kit, so I got them for a friend. And that friend will know who she is when she gets her package next week that I'm mailing before I leave. So crafty clips of some kind. Doesn't matter, as long as they don't leave an indentation. What you need to watch out for is these. I'm a little worried about these because mine have a little bit of like rubber ends so that they don't make a dent in the project. So to my crafty friend, just make sure that these, I think they just painted the ends. I'm not sure that they're protected. So watch that when you do your project. But that's another crafty tool that for me is absolutely essential, because I can't hold and press something for like half an hour. Plus it stops my making time, but more than that, it'll also bother my hands. We all need these kind of vice grips. Woodworkers and artists have been using them for, I don't know, centuries. So that's one of my little tools. Lots of people just use paper clips, but that's risky because you can, if it's a wet medium, you can leave the paint is so poor quality today when it comes out of, you know, fast production that it can leave a mark on your project. And I don't like that. So I like a good strong clip, and some things I vice grip overnight. So these are terrific for doing that. So that for me is an essential tool. I think I'm almost done because, oh, don't laugh. Here's an essential tool, folks. I learned this from Lily. These are these giant party trays you get at the Dollar Tree, And this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 compartments. And when I'm working on projects, whether it be in bellies or whatever, I use these. Now, Lily, what she does is she fills them up with different ephemera and different embellishments and resin pieces. And when she's doing decorating, she just pulls them. I use them differently. Once I'm finished doing projects or I have to pluck out, I put them separated into each area. And that helps me put it away for the night in case I want to come back to it the next day to finish, and it keeps it all nice and organized. But however, regardless of how you use these are wonderful. And I have them in different sizes, and I have like the 3 holder one, the 5 holder one. I probably spent like $5 or $6 on these, but they're really useful. And I just find them fabulous. Just faboo. Y'all know that Carmen just got me a Stampy, which is a Stampy cleaning cloth. And I just tested it out and it works very well. I usually just keep baby wipes from the dollar store always on my craft table. I use them to clean up everything. But now you're going to be like, wait girl, you don't have a mat? Oh, I have a mat. I've had a mat because I've been making visual art and postal art for decades. I don't use it for crafting. I don't. It's a self-healing mat. I'll tell you why. I'm a messy maker. I buy dollar store placemats that I lay over a tablecloth protector with a heat, usually with a heat pad underneath. And I use that, folks. And I know that's probably shocking to you. There's no grid, there's no nothing. I prefer it. So I don't like to use a crafty mat because I can't feel comfortable that I can clean it off perfectly the way I want to. Why not get one of those fancy glass mats, you're thinking? Especially since I do a lot of now mixed media and painting. Why am I not doing that? Those you can spray right on the surface and clean them up. They're pricey, that's why, and I haven't decided that it's worth it. So I want you all to weigh in. That didn't make my list. I did not buy one. I did buy the Tim Holtz travel stamp platform, which is very similar to there's many different versions. It puts a silicone stamp on a platform so that you can keep pressing 2 or 3 times to get an exact and sharp print. I like that tool. It is not an essential tool for me. I can carefully, after I season my stamps, use an acrylic block. I like that tool. It's just not essential. So what are my final essential items? The biggest one that we've yet to talk about is my die cutter. The die cutter is something I can't live without. I've decided. I love my die cutter. I'm growing to love it more and more every day, and I'm learning how to use dies in way more effective ways, and I'm a much more confident die cutter today. I love my Sissics. I told you all that. I had a cuddle bug. My husband was gracious enough to get me one for the Holy Land. I'm not a fan. But each person has to decide what works for them. My Sissics is a reliable machine. I can crank out anything, and I did a bunch of tests and I could have wrecked it, and let's just say that thing is built like a tank. And for me, who's hard on things, and when I was first learning and I made a bunch of mistakes and put the dies upside down, you don't even want to know. How I didn't break the mermaid plates, I don't know. That is one heck of a great machine, and I love it. So I am mad crazy about my Sissics, and I now have a big shot that holds these dies. Y'all, this is my first ever chunky big die. Yep. Notice I got the Maggie Holmes medallion ribbon. I have yet to use it. I'm excited. I'm very excited. It's my first one and my only one. I'm looking for those distressed flowers. By the way, I did find the flower dies on sale at the Michaels, but they're single petal, and I don't want to work with single petal. I don't feel confident enough yet. But these steel metal dies are fantastic, and this is my first one, and I'm very excited to have it. I am a die cutter lover, and so I don't think even if I get the Brothers Scan and Cut, I am never going to part with my Sissics. I love it. Second last tool before I cut this video off and bid you all good night is I'm surprised at how much I love this heat tool. This was a sort of impulse buy. I'm going to share that with you. I bought the stuff to do the embossing. I still stink at it. I'm still working at it. I don't work at it that hard because heat embossing is not something I'm as crazy about yet enough to invest the proper time in it to make it perfect. But I'll get there eventually. But boy, do I love me a heat tool. I was using a small hair dryer. I'll tell you. I waited. I got this at 50% off at Michael's. It was $29. I paid $15. I love it. I love it. I love it. I use it so much for mixed media because beforehand I was letting stuff dry overnight and it was still a bit tacky here in Florida. This is a lifesaver, and especially when I'm stamping and painting on glassine bags. Oh, this is my friend. Note that the fuse tool did not make my list even though I own one, and that's because I still find that thing frustrating to use. I watched Susan Tootsie Tucker's video the other day and how she did it with ease and grace, and I sure don't. Either I press too hard and it tears my plastic and my acetate in my pockets, or I don't press hard enough. I let it heat up. I don't know if it's the one I bought and it's just not great quality, or if I just need a whole bunch more practice. And knowing me, I just need more practice. So that fuse tool did not make my top buy list, and yet it was one of the first tools I bought. And I don't think that was very smart. I should have bought this first after the die cutter. That's what I should have bought. And that and some fussy cutting scissors. But I've learned along the way, and you're going to learn too. Each of us, we're going to grow, and as our crafting needs change, so do our tool needs. I will tell you that I know that I need a better paper cutter for the trim liner one, but I need to do more research before I buy another paper cutter. I need to make sure what I'm buying is exactly what I want, because I want the ability to not have to press, just like Tennille talked about, but I also want a certain kind of cutting, and I want to be able to make diagonal cuts and all sorts of things, so I need to do some more research. The other tool that I use all the time that is just obvious are paintbrushes. I use more paintbrushes than I probably use any other tool. I buy mine super cheap. I have my nice art brushes for when I do art journaling, but for my crafting, for the most part, I just buy them at the dollar store and take really good care of them, and most of the time they last. What about shedding? Because, you know, when those things shed, but I'm just really careful with them. I wash them with very gentle shampoo, and for the most part, $1 set of paintbrushes will last me like a few months, even with all my hard stuff on it, like Mod Podge and all that sort of jazz. So my die cutter is like my #1 tool. It's the tool I love. It's the tool I can't live without. It's the tool I'm growing to love more and more. And as I was just saying, I am going to get once I finish all the postage stuff, I'm going to save for a Brother Scan and Cut. But it will never replace my die cutter. It'll just enable me to do more things. And why I want the Brother Scan and Cut is because I want to take my drawings and my cartoons and turn them into ephemera. Y'all, I didn't need to mention fabric tack because we're going to do the adhesion test. I don't know if I call this a tool or a passion, but this is my favorite fabric glue. That said, Helmer's makes a fabric glue, and it's en route to New York, and I cannot wait to do it in the adhesion test. For all we know, it's going to hold up just as well or better than fabric tack, and won't that be something? I hope this was useful for you. I really hope more people do these videos. Like, I see so many people using tweezers, and I've tried using tweezers, and I just find it's even harder. But I want to know why you use tweezers, and I want to better understand it. I wish most people who've been doing crafting for a while would do these videos and share what they absolutely use. Because, you know, again, I wasted a ton of money on supplies that, quite frankly, and I didn't buy tools, I bought supplies. And I bought the wrong supplies, meaning I bought paper without knowing what I was going to do with it. I didn't have the right tools to manipulate, to take a pad of paper that maybe I didn't like and make it into something, because I didn't have the right tools. Now that I have the right tools, that changes everything. I can use my stash, even paper that I don't care for, because I can change it, because I have all the right tools with which to do that. And I think that tools became my top priority items. We could talk about loves. You know, I love shimmer spray. So whether it's my Tattered Angels bought for $1.24 at the Hobby Lobby sale, or the one I make myself, thanks to Scrafter World, who gave that great tutorial using the dollar store products, I love that. But it's not a need. I can make this myself. The things I can't live without are things like this, and my die cutter, and my really great dies. And maybe later this season, I'll do a video on which are my favorite dies and why, and which ones I'm using all the time and the ones I'm learning to better manipulate. I'm become a real die lover. And again, I'm a big fan of my Misc. So even getting a Brother Scan and Cut will not change the fact that this girl's going to die cut probably an hour a day. I hope this was useful. I wish I had found a video like this when I first started out, because I spent all my money on paper pads. I really did. And all these cute decorations from the Dollar Tree and all these other pieces without even knowing that I didn't have the tools to lay them down. So I hope this is useful for new crafters. I hope this is useful to people who have been crafting a long time. Maybe you learned one thing. Maybe you learned about all these different tapes that suddenly I'm learning about myself, because you all know adhesion to me really matters. Or maybe you learn that I buy a certain kind of chipboard because I find it holds up even to wet mediums. If any of this has been useful, then that's great, because that's why I did this. I'm trying to help other people avoid some of the mistakes I made, and maybe the experts will find one thing they didn't know. And if we all did this, imagine all the amazing learning that we would do. And I want to thank again to Neil Paper Milkshake for doing it, because you started this and you made me realize how valuable these videos are. So thank you so much for inspiring this video. And now your girl's got to go pack these items up, because these items are coming with me to New York. All right, y'all. Wishing you an amazing evening. I'm going to watch your videos while I pack up. And again, thanks for all your support today. I'm going to read your comments, but I may not do it till after I'm done the packing in case I get mushy. All right, y'all. Have an amazing evening. Leave me a comment down below if you have any questions. The link should be working now. Again, I apologize about earlier. I didn't realize it was set to my private account. All right, y'all. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.